Hello everyone, today I am recreating one of my old videos, my classic gluten-free buttermilk biscuits. These are so incredible, you guys. If you haven't tried them yet, be sure to try them because you will be blown away by how soft, tender, and fluffy they are. Like no other biscuit, gluten-free or not, that you've ever had. So let's get into it and I'll show you how to make them. All right, in my bowl, I have 560 grams or 4 cups of my gluten-free all-purpose flour blend, and I'm gonna make it into like a self-rising gluten-free flour blend. So to do that, I am adding 4 tablespoons or 45 grams of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of salt. So I'm just gonna whisk this all together until well combined. And this is like a homemade version of self-rising flour because I don't know about elsewhere, but here in the US, they don't sell a gluten-free self-rising flour. So we have to kind of make it ourselves. All right, to this, I'm going to add 3 sticks or 339 grams of butter that's very cold, and it's cut into like about 1/4 inch thick slices. And this is a lot of butter, but trust me, there's a lot of flour in this. It can take all of this butter. I'm just going to use my fingers to cut the butter in to the flour mixture. You can also use a food processor. You can use a pastry blender. I used to have one of those years ago, but I lost it or it broke or something. I can't remember. But you could also use a stand mixer on low and then just mix it around until the butter is okay. See this? This is more like shards in a sense. I take my thumbs and I move it back and forth over my fingers, and that kind of creates like little shards. So now that that's done, I'll make a little well in the center. I'll set this aside and just quickly whisk together 2 large eggs that are cold into 1 3/4 cups or 420 grams of buttermilk that is also really cold. So now I'm just mixing this through, just using a spoon, and it's gonna be a very wet dough. That's what you want. So now that this is pretty well incorporated, I'm gonna actually press it down a little bit and I'm gonna cover it and let it sit in the fridge for an hour. All right, the biscuit dough is nice and cold. I'm going to actually knead it a couple of times, not too many, just knead it to let it come together. It doesn't need to be perfect. You're just looking for it to come together like a dough just a few times. That's pretty good until it looks like a semi-workable dough. You can actually pat this down and not use a rolling pin. I'm actually going to use a rolling pin, and I'm only rolling it out just a little bit because I like my biscuits super high. I don't like them really thin, so I'm going to roll mine out to about 1 inch high. And then just take your biscuit cutter, dip it into some flour, and when you cut biscuits, make sure you cut all the way down first before you twist them. Because if you twist them as you're cutting down, it's going to seal those edges more and it'll create less volume when it goes to bake. All right, I've got my sheet tray that's been fully buttered, and this is a 1/4 sheet tray, so it's about 9 by 13 inch in size. And I'm putting them really close together to where they're touching. And once I've got them on there, I'm going to go ahead and put them in the fridge for a few minutes while I preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. So these are out of the fridge. I've got some melted butter. I'm going to brush it on the chilled biscuits. So we'll bake these at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 30 minutes or until they're light, fluffy, golden brown, and absolutely gorgeous looking. Check these out. I mean, look at how much these rose up, and they are so tender, so fluffy, and absolutely beautiful, and they smell divine, you guys. So I'm going to brush them with any of that extra butter that I have, just to gild the lily a little more. I'm going to try one while it's still warm. I mean, check this out. Look at how big these are. Look at how tall they got. And they're still a little bit flaky, but these are more of like a tender, soft, fluffy biscuit than flaky. But they are absolutely incredible, you guys. You can eat them just plain. You can put butter, jam on them. You can make sausage biscuits, bacon, egg, and cheese biscuits. You can serve them with chicken, like my Chick-fil-A copycat recipe. They are divine, you guys. I hope you get a chance to make them, and I hope you enjoy them.